chief economists for the Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Food Programme held a virtual media briefing following the publication of the 2021 State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World. The report gives information on the progress towards ending hunger, achieving food security, and improving nutrition. This report features the joint briefing at the United Nations headquarters in New York.
The FAD Global Assessment of its kind in the pandemic era. The report is jointly published by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, the United Nations Children's Fund, the UN World Food Programme, and the World Health Organization. The State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World is an annual flagship report jointly prepared by FAO, IFAD, UNICEF, WFD, and WHO to inform on the progress towards ending hunger, achieving food security, and improving nutrition. It further provides in-depth analysis on key challenges for achieving the global in context of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The report targets a wide audience, including policymakers, international organizations, academic institutions, and the general public. Speaking at the press conference, the FAO chief economist Massimo Terrero said there is a need to look into the inadequacy of food in the world.
Globally, nearly 1 in 3 people in the world, 2.4 million people, did not have access to adequate food in 2020. And that is an increase of nearly 320 million people in 1 year. So the numbers are pretty dramatic, and this also applies to all the other malnutrition indicators.
As outlined in last year's report, transforming food system is essential to achieve food security, improve nutrition, and put healthy diet within reach of all. This year's edition goes further to outline 6 transformation pathways which, according to the authors, rally on a coherent set of policy and investment portfolios to counter the hunger drivers. Mr. Terrero went on to underscore the content and agreement of the 2021 State of Food Security and Nutrition Report.
One of the things that this report does is combine the different drivers. No? So we start with the typical drivers that we have been analyzing, which is conflict, climate extremes and variability, and economic downturns and slowdowns. And we see how many of those happen at the same time.
In many parts of the world, the pandemic has triggered brutal recessions and jeopardized access to food. Yet, even before the pandemic, hunger was spreading progress on malnutrition large. This was all the more so in nations affected by conflict or climate extremes or other economic downturns or battling high inequality, all of which the report identifies as major drivers of food insecurity, which in turn interact. On current trends, the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World estimates that the Sustainable Development Goal 2, which is zero hunger by 2030, will be missed by a margin of nearly 600 million people. Of these 660 million, some 30 million may be linked to the pandemic lasting effects. For iAfrica News, Binta Jallow.